Champaign on Lakeshore Drive, 89 miles per hour. A smooth road, wearing a tuxedo, very sharp. There was a party at the hotel downtown Chicago. This is my town. I should never be driving this car.
Oh no, I shouldn't be driving this car.
So welcome to It's Been a While podcast, everybody. We are joined here by a very special guest, Univore, Nick Flandro and Dave Bachman. Thank you very much for joining us here on our show. This, our podcast, very much the premise of it is looking into strange, characters on the internet, strange viral videos on the internet. And this one is important to kind of telling some context of that, but it's also important to us very personally because Champagne Taste gets played about every 2 or 3 months on our TV downstairs on random YouTube deep dives, and so yeah, you're popping up periodically in our household.
That's good to hear. We appreciate that, and thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Now, we live also in Champaign, so it's still a little bit different than Champaign. We're about 2 hours south of Chicago, which I think you guys were at for a little bit. But yeah, so our, it's a little bit spelled differently, but Champagne Taste does have a little extra meaning for us too there. Now, Dave here found you off a Cracked article from a while back, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that Cracked article, but I have your mention here. You were number 5 out of 10 for
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty halfway for strange must-see YouTube videos by a gentleman named John Cheese. I'm not sure if that's his actual birth given name or not. But yeah, I figured I'd read it real quick in case you're unfamiliar or if it's been a while. But this is one of those rare videos that's so bad you initially think it's been set up that way on purpose. Like maybe you're fishing for a Rebecca Black type of viral explosion or something. But looking at their about page, you realize Univore is totally sincere as a musical group and has in fact released 3 albums. The video itself is a triathlon of bad lip syncing, horrible music, and some of the worst effects you're likely to ever see, but I can't stop watching it. It's 5 minutes and 15 seconds of pure unapologetic sadism, punishing you for ever having the tenacity to enjoy music as a whole. And yet 3 days after seeing this video, I still find myself cleaning the house while singing, "Oh no, I shouldn't be driving this car." Now, a little bit harsh, but yeah, what do you guys have to say about it?
I take umbrage to the bad music comment, frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not actually trying to pick a fight with John Cheese, but
right.
I mean, I understand 50% of the spirit of that review. That's
fair enough.
I call it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought there was some cool music in there, some cool licks.
No, 100%. Yeah.
The
definition of catchy, because
I feel like he walks it back a little too. Kind of walks it back and gives us a little
he does.
Can't get it out of my head. So.
And Cracked, first and foremost, is a comedy website. So it's not actually a serious music review or anything like that. I think the other number one video in that was a mashup of Justin Bieber's Baby and Psychosocial by Slipknot. So
quite a list to be on.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I absolutely remember when that was posted because that was one of the kind of like a big viral moment for the video. Definitely, it had like a couple things before that, but then I think that one just like it really cracked it into a
right.
I mean, it's under like 500,000, but that really pushed it to a couple 100,000 at least.
Yeah, and it definitely has a severe, like the cult following is strong. Like the people that love it adore it, and it really does fit perfectly in a landmark of 2010 internet of kind of what it was truly like a lawless wasteland of where people could the bar was being set truly at that point. I feel like for where the internet is kind of today in terms of the humor of it all.
Someone described it. I don't even know where. I don't even know if it was in the comment section, but it was like they're calling it like vaporwave art brute, which I felt like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll take that. Like that's cool because it had kind of that weird like internet art vibe to it with the weird Japanese captions, which were purely intentional for kind of like a what the fuck reaction to it. But yeah, I mean,
I also remember this one tiny bit of minutia where we were getting a lot of comments about how Marco Casale's hair was, the clouds were moving in one direction, but his hair was moving in the other one. And I just like, I know that wasn't in the review that you just read, but like that just sort of sparked a memory of me appreciating people's attention to detail.
Yeah.
Like the stupid details of that video. So I just wanted
to add some of the fever dream to it all. Nothing, no reality is correct within that video.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll dive a little bit into that in a little bit, but we'll talk about you gentlemen for a little bit. So the name origin, was there any specific reason? Univore by definition is kind of something that eats one food. So was there anything that specifically sparked it? It's a cool ass name, so that alone makes it make sense. But I was wondering if there's any sort of driving force now.
I
mean, do you remember, Nick?
Because we were kicking around. Yeah, we were kicking around different ideas. I think I liked the ending "vor." Yeah. I just felt that was cool. But there's bands like Carnivore, and we didn't really want to go there. I think there might even be a band out there called Omnivore. And then just the idea of like a prefix, which isn't, hasn't been attached to "vor," at least at that point. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird and interesting. and then a friend of ours came up with an interesting way to kind of like retrofit a definition to it, but we won't go there just yet unless Dave would like to share that. But okay. I don't know. That's kind of how I remember it. We were just
good.
I mean, just like the sound of it, the ring of it.
Definitely, yeah. And good names just stick. Ours started as kind of an inside joke of the song "It's Been a While" by Stained. All of a sudden, someone would say "It's been a while," and for whatever reason, we would just sing it as that little hook. Like whenever anybody accidentally said "Just it's been a while," and when we were coming up with the podcast, we're like, well, it needs a name, and somebody said it, made the joke in the brainstorming session. It was like, oh well, that's perfect. People say it all the time, easily branded. So when we talked to a couple people where the name recognition is, if you can Google it and essentially nothing comes up but you, pretty good name, So
right.
That is true. And yeah. I don't know. Are we still in the top like 5 Google hits of Univore, Nick? I would hope so.
It's number 1.
Yeah, Champagne Taste is number 1
okay,
for
good.
Sure.
Free SEO or search engine optimization there. Just
cool.
There's like a couple. Yeah, there's like, I think there's maybe like a French like food magazine called Univore now. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like there's something else around there. And then there's a truck called the Univore, made by like International, I think. I don't know. You have to look that up. But it's like this big, I don't know. It's like a 6-wheeler.
Cool freeway collab. If you could make that work somehow.
I was slightly afraid that one of these years our name would be co-opted by some like startup software company and we'd get bumped down. But
yeah, it's crazy what word can all of a sudden, like Vine, like it had no meaning before the platform in like 2015. All of a sudden, that's like what will come up if you search that very simple part of biology. Yeah, that is definitely a legitimate concern. Is like, oh shit, all of a sudden something just takes it over. But how'd you two meet?
Oh gosh, well, we met in high school when we were we were 14 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think we just hit it off immediately. We were just weird people, and we enjoyed same kind of music. Nick was always interested in starting something, and usually convincing others to join him, and that. And I'm glad he did, because others of us like myself might not have thought to actually start that sort of relationship and maintain it over these years. So
yeah,
and
getting the ball rolling is vital, and it doesn't seem as much as it really is, but like it is a skill that is very much appreciated when it's there.
Yeah. Nick, anything to add to our history?
No, I mean, like, definitely. Well, like, Ben and I, and a guy I used to do music with, like we went to the same grade school, and then we all went to high school together. We're joined the same high school as Dave, and we were always trying to start a band, and Dave was one of the guys that really great guitarist. And so, I mean, that's kind of like, I think, where it started, and then, good sense of humor, same sense of humor and stuff like that. And then eventually, actually, I mean, we played in high school little occasionally. But then after school, we formed another thing called The Junk. And then with that same guy, I referenced Ben, our friend Ben Scotch. And then, he moved out of town. You moved back into town in Chicago, and then we started Univore. That's a very condensed version of the musical history there, but always trying to make videos too. I mean, that was like another thing we like doing.
Yeah, so yeah, you guys, your music definitely walks a line between, you know, a little bit of humor, at the very least, injected into it, and the
definitely absurdity.
Yes, yeah, which is you know, something that works, you know, very well in that you know, 2010, the real the absurdity of music videos. I think that's when honestly some of like the best strange hits came out. But yeah, so where does it really, you know, kind of like, obviously the foundation of it is music, but I guess where does it really like kind of start and stop, because a lot of your videos have like a lot of lore kind of injected into the descriptions and stuff, so it really is quite a like a storytelling musical comedy experience all kind of wrapped up together. So it's just like where's the line, I guess, with what that you try to walk with it all.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, we take the descriptions very seriously. Dave's a MFA, creative writer. I don't know. I do stuff in video production, but like, yeah, we want every piece of it to be kind of like supporting our absurdity, I suppose. And you know, sometimes even if the music is a little or seemingly serious, I feel like we try to always put a little absurdity in there. Doesn't sound like a very fun answer, Dave.
I mean, well, no, it's definitely, you know, like it's definitely fun to keep things light. You know, sometimes our stuff has treaded slightly more serious, but you know, at the end of the day, a little bit of comic relief definitely is important to it all. But yeah, no, I was just kind of wondering on exactly where, because it is a lot different than a lot of other bands, which I feel like are either strictly one or the other, and you know, either the lore is everything or nothing in a lot of other music. So you guys just kind of have this 3-part Venn diagram that really, I feel like you nail each part pretty well and equally.
I think Dave and I have complementing skill sets. Like Dave is writer and musician, and I'm like a pseudo producer.
Okay.
Decent with software and music and video.
And I like artistically, I do appreciate when we either make the decision or it just works out that there's some sort of tasteless or uncomfortable element that clashes with like actually really what I think is really beautiful melodic music. You know, we made a video a few years back, like, and for a track Indulgences, which is an instrumental, and we, you know, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out, because I think it's a really beautiful tune. But again, we wanted to work a few elements of the absurd, as you call it, and that's sort of tasteless into the actual visual accompaniment to the tune. And I think it's really cool when we can work that out.
Definitely, yeah.
What I think
a lot of people like in the comments say like, I came here to laugh, kind of, but I'm very much now obsessed, and this is now part of my daily playlist. And you know, they came here to think, like, expecting the comedy that the Champagne Taste kind of makes it out to be, but then they're like, well, damn, I'm hooked.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think, you know, not to overanalyze it, but there's a bit of like an evolution for sure. Like, obviously Champagne or Casale Project, the whole album is, you know, was originally like, okay, we're going to make this, it's a concept album with Marco, and that's, you know, and that drove pretty much every creative decision, like musically, lyrically, you know, everything. And then, you know, then we're like, well, we still want to, you know, do music stuff and keep Marco involved in the production end of it too. And I even work with him later on, but yeah, I mean, I feel like we definitely have, you can, if you took the time to, like, not that you didn't, but like if you listen to all 7, soon to be 8 albums and whatever little soundtracks in between, like,
right, I
think you'll see an interesting
maturation.
But like, honestly, like, I mean, it definitely, before it, you know, when we started, it was definitely like a little more like throwing a little more of the dissonance. The absurdity has been constant, I believe. Even if like the production value gets higher, I think you still need to throw in just enough of that, like, you know, Marco putting on stockings or something. And
don't forget your roots.
You know, just to kind of, you know, shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So any like,
but musically, I guess. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going.
No, you're good. I was just gonna ask, like, specifically any sort of music videos or music in general that really, you know, draw some inspiration from, or were like, okay, I gotta be like this guy? There's a couple things that I've, in media that I've seen where I got actually jealous almost, to where I was like, damn, I wish I wrote that or made that or something. So like, I was wondering if there's any moments of like that where it was definitively like, oh, I want to be like that.
Good question.
Is that more of a question of like visual or just musical, you think?
Either or, because they do, you both have like their distinct tastes, in that work perfectly together, the way you guys kind of like arrange it. But like that, I feel like, potentially could have been discovered from different genres and stuff, and then, blended to be Univore.
Oh, well. I mean, Dave, you want to answer that first? I probably have an answer, sort of.
I mean, I don't have a fully baked answer to that question, but I really enjoyed, I'm being serious, the music video for Elton John's "I'm Still Standing" from like 1984. And because, I mean, it's absurd and very flamboyant, but it's also incredibly earnest in its own way, So definitely. I'm not saying that we ever captured the essence of an Elton John video. Right. I'm just saying like that sensibility has always sort of been in the back of my mind, and also I just loved the 1980s, both as like just as a, like, it's not a genre, it's a decade, but the genres that were blossoming in the 1980s, we love that sound a lot, and we try to incorporate it into our tunes even now,
Yeah.
And even is like, I definitely all those 80s, early MTV, like highly influenced by that. There couldn't be like, I'm not gonna say like there's one director, but just like all of that, like super high budget stuff, but at the same time, it still looks so low budget because it's not high budget enough for them at the time, because it still required like, hundreds of people on set to, put anything together and so much time. But yeah, like the crappy keying of things back then, like, which probably looked really futuristic, is just like, that's inspiring for sure. Like I keep watching that, like, what is that, Jean-Michel Jarre, the French synth, his videos are ridiculous. I've been trying to, I mean, I don't even know if that's pre-MTV, but like, I just want to, it's so inspiring, just a bunch of like head turns and I don't know, I think maybe I have the name wrong, but no, I mean, I can't think of one. I mean, there's a lot of great contemporary musicians that I think are making awesome stuff, but
right. But yeah, awesome. Yeah, I was, just curious of kind of any artists and stuff that potentially laid out the pathway to becoming what you guys are putting out. So you said you were coming out with another album. You said soon to be 8th album. You got any details you can share on that, or is it still a little bit in the works? Or
definitely in the works. I think we have 10 tracks that are, I don't know, 80%-ish done, and so, we still a lot of work to do, and mixing and mastering and figuring out artwork and even name and all that stuff. But I mean, it's, I don't want to say it's more of the same, but there's nothing super duper spectacularly new about it. We're going for some more like sort of pop tunes with some synth stuff in there, and maybe an occasional lap steel guitar to put a little country flavor in there.
Of course.
But I don't know. Anything else? Any other secrets we want to divulge, Nick?
I mean, if you like the last 2 albums, or maybe last 3, I feel like it's sort of kind of in that. I mean, or like any of our albums, it's all there.
Right.
Some more interesting lyrics and concepts, and I don't know. I mean, if someone's a fan at this point, they'll probably still like it.
Yeah.
So you guys aren't expecting any kind of take a bump in listenership from this, are you?
Oh no.
Small.
Oh, good.
This is our first podcast and also first invitation, so that'll give you an idea.
We've only existed for 11 years, guys. Like, how can you expect us to get?
Cut off, like, just a few more.
Who gets on podcasts in their first 11 years of existence?
No, No, this is both important both to our podcast, because we love just kind of explaining any sort of context we can get to any sort of internet video that may not be fully, public knowledge. But also, at the end of the day, part of this podcast is to just kind of indulge our curiosity on talking to people that have been part of our vocabulary, and there's plenty of people like us that appreciate a nice long conversation with people like you guys. So
sure.
Yeah.
So when did
good enough for me.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I can't remember when Cracked. So that's when both of you kind of discovered that video Champagne Taste, or
so you would have showed me like probably
a year after, so I would have read it.
Yeah, because I would have I met Dave here like probably 14-ish officially
year at college.
Yeah. So yeah.
Right.
So you probably got that article and then threw it up in a YouTube dive, and immediately Marco demands your undivided attention. So the first time I saw that, I was like, what the hell is this? Like
yeah. So is that like 2013 or?
Yeah, 2014 is probably when I saw it, and then 2013. Okay. Which the article, by the way, it says January 30th, 2099. I don't know if that was a mistake on their end or like part of a joke or something. So we can't find the exact publication date of the article for some reason. I'm not sure why it's like that, but yeah, roughly in there, 2013-14 is when we would have first found you guys.
Interesting.
Nice.
And then going back through the archives of people that we've known about, we were like, oh, it'd be awesome to see what's up with that.
Did you find any more of the Casale project videos, or is that just kind of it?
Oh yeah, no, I watched through all of them. And I definitely want to talk about him because it seems very common on the Champagne Taste and some of those other Casale project videos where people come looking and are very excited to see more about him, and unfortunately they realize the news of his passing, which God sucks, because like he really does seem just like not just hilarious, but kind of an enigma of a man, truly
he's having fun.
Not taking nothing too seriously, and just a creature, a spectacle. It's really but
he was unique.
So you guys met him in Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you were there. So, and you were going to ask, right, on the kind of like, you were making music in Chicago together at one point, and then
I was gonna ask like what the process was like now working on an album not living together. It's a little bit different than going home after high school and jamming.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh definitely. Yeah, our first few we were living in Chicago together. Let's say 2009 to 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And actually we lived not even one block from each other for much of that. So it was real easy to just like bring my guitar over to his place. He had his kit, and actually do some physical recording, which I think I miss a lot. I think we're making it work remotely, but and then we would just get together and meticulously listen to the tracks together, mix them in person with each other, and that's how we did it. And then also obviously have Marco come over to do some spoken word vocals and and do a little bit of green screen video here and there, so it was very much, it was a very much in-person operation. And now it's way different.
Just sending stems now. And like, I don't know. I feel like it still works. I mean, it'd be, I miss kind of like being able to like put stuff on loop and then just kind of like, pen out some lyrics together. Like we did occasionally. Dave does probably the majority of the good lyric writing, but there's a couple times where we would like, put our heads together and be like, kind of work like, I don't know, like Rocher or something like that.
Yes, right. Yeah.
I don't know. And then recording and then being able to like, hey, look, maybe we can try this or try that. That's cool. But I feel like it really didn't slow us down at all.
Nice. No. Yeah. There's definitely more tools like to do it remotely that constantly I feel like kind of come out, like especially with the pandemic and everything just had to become online like by default. So at least there are the tools to make that work, but that's awesome that it's still quite possible to write the songs and everything. So how'd you guys meet him? Paint the picture if you can, and I don't know, we don't have to talk about it too much or anything, exactly how much you guys are comfortable with it and all, but how'd you meet this interesting fella?
Well, we first met him at this bar, the Happy Village. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chicago.
It's enough,
vaguely.
Yeah.
I've got a brother who lives in Wrigleyville.
Okay. This was so we were mostly in the Ukrainian Village, I guess mostly just like Ukrainian Village area. And the bar, the Happy Village, was in East Ukrainian Village, and I worked a couple nights there, and then we had a ping pong table in the back, and I think that's what drew Marco in. He had a couple like Campari sodas or Campari vodka sodas, and he'd play ping pong. And then one time I was like, okay, this guy's too interesting. Like, I mean, just this thick Italian accent and total nut, like the way he would just kind of like roam around and spark up conversations with people. And then Dave probably met him like the day after I met him, because I think once he started going there, he went there like every day. And obviously we'd both be regulars there too. And then, I introduced him to a regular to play ping pong with, and then they became friends too. And then he's always coming back, always hanging out there. We're like, this guy he's just a star,
Yeah.
He's just a natural, like we need to do something with this guy. And we had already been talking about probably making music or doing some kind of video project or whatever. Dave, I don't know if you want to take over from there.
I mean, also his background, like Marco Casale's background, is irresistible. He was like a hairdresser for a decade. He was an extra. Yeah. He was an extra in The Fugitive. Like,
I did see that. Yes,
him with Harrison Ford and Dustin Hoffman and whomever else.
Well,
so
actually,
this crazy patchwork of.
Just an added detail to that, he was actually the body double of Harrison Ford in the scene where he falls down the stairs, fighting with the one-armed man, which is like a beginning scene when the one-armed man comes in and kills his wife. So that's why in the picture he has a beard similar to what Harrison Ford was wearing in the early part of the film.
Okay,
it's crazy. I mean, so like you watch it again, like holy shit, is that Marco? He's like maybe for a split second, like taking the fall, like hitting like the bottom stair or whatever, which is just. And then he was like selling hot dogs in Ferris Bueller's Day Off in some sort of like downtown scene. I think the parade scene or something.
Oh shit!
I always wanted to like cut up, like really locate all these different scenes of him, and then like kind of like do a super cut of just Marco. Yeah. But just I guess not enough time. But,
extra acting reel, yeah.
There's one terrible boxing movie. I can't even remember the actors in it.
Oh my god!
But that's the best one where he's shaking the money.
Yes, he's shaking money. He's placing a bet,
and he's like, they're probably like just act like you're talking, but he wasn't. He was just like moving his mouth. It was so funny. Oh my god, so ridiculous. And I think he's in like Hoffa too. Like there's a list. He did a lot of extra work in Chicago films. I think probably when they had that like first tax break, and they had like just a ton of productions going on there.
But he was also just gung ho. He's like, he'll do whatever,
right.
And and so he met us. He thought we were sort of nuts, but also, quickly learned that we do have. we have we have a certain amount of artistic acumen, and like, if that's the right phrase, and he was in, and so we just went with it.
That's
really
awesome.
Didn't think about it too much.
So how soon after did you guys like start that official project then, I guess? It sounds like probably not too long, huh? He's ready to go.
6 months, not even. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we started. I mean, Champagne Taste was one of the first ones too. I feel like that, and I think there's a couple ones that are like we did early on, like maybe even Vendetta and Rocher, and then like, wow, these are actually like, we're like, okay, let's keep going. These are getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, soon after.
Sorry to interject, but one name we have not mentioned because we're talking about Champagne Taste is the guy who played saxophone on that track. Our also dear friend Lewis Stockwell, who was just a madman on saxophone, and he is no longer with us either. So he was also working at the Happy Village, and he witnessed the formation of Univore, and begrudgingly agreed to loan us his jazz chops on this record. And I think it's amazing.
It adds, I think, pretty much everything to it.
Yeah.
So, and brings it up and kind of gives it like too much like artistic credibility, like, but just like everything else kind of drags it down and tries to sabotage like that, like his performance, but it all still sort of works.
Yeah, I meant to ask. So you guys do have a couple other buddies, right? That get in. I've noticed on the Bandcamp it says there's a couple other people listed. So you got a couple other people that help in, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, friend Brian Doherty played on a lot of bass on a lot of stuff. Friend Sagan Jacobson, he also does music solo. And Brian does it with a band called Hood Smoke, and then also he's been composing ballets recently. I got to catch up with him.
Nice.
Yeah, he's doing some interesting stuff compositionally. But then Sagan, great multi-instrumental vocalist. He's lended some his vocal chops on the last couple albums too, along with other people. Lori Lachine, that also she records under the name Talk to Strangers. That's another band to check out.
Yes.
Liam Cloyd. I mean, he only contributed on one track, but he's a friend of ours. He's a great musician. He goes by Magic from Space. Check that stuff out.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's kind of our goal too, to just collab, get all our buddies to just, contribute in some way or another to not necessarily music, but just like projects in general. Like dream goal is just give all our friends jobs and make cool shit together.
That's great, man. Yeah. The more the merrier, that's like the Steely Dan attitude,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, bring in all these studio musicians and get them to contribute to your tracks.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, you mentioned Vendetta and Ping Pong. So Marco had I have down here, interesting story in the description of that video on lots of people kind of giving him the business. So it's not like he got himself into a little bit of trouble here and there with Ping Pong. He was such a rabid fan of it.
Nick?
I mean, I don't remember the Vendetta description so well. I mean, some of that I think, if I remember correctly, some of it might be a little embellished, parts of it. I don't remember. I do remember the whole impetus for the song Vendetta was because he was complaining about these two stories that happened to him recently, where someone stole his bike, and I think that is referenced in the lyrics. But yes, didn't someone punch holes in his bike tires, and then
it said something like that in the description.
Yeah, there was something. I guess I'm asking Dave because I'm trying to remember how Marco actually shared it, and I don't know how much of it is actually true from the song is actually true or true from Marco's mouth. But yeah, he had some beefs, and then we were just like, I just thought it, we thought it was so funny to Vendetta, he's got this it's him reckoning all this. I don't know.
Classic revenge story.
Yeah.
I mean, the video had nothing really to do with the subject matter.
Right.
Nick and I got shot in the face in a restaurant. I don't even know if there was a reference to a restaurant in there. We just needed to piece together some visual imagery,
of course, right.
Whatever the hell was coming out of Marco's mouth,
Yeah, Marco didn't kill anyone, but he got mad enough to sound. It seemed like he might have thought about it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just
That video was fun. We filmed half of that in Chinatown in Chicago.
Okay.
And Marco would walk into these trinket shops, some of which had actual swords. I think one, he just pulled out the sword, and the proprietor came rushing up, and Marco just put it back in and just walked out.
Right.
We were like, not here to decapitate anyone.
So it almost seems like he's sword shopping the whole time, and then just pulls this old revolver out.
Yeah,
it's would have made more sense if he just easier to fake, I guess, with a pistol.
Yeah, it seems like those videos with Marco were a blast to piece together any way you could from. So was he? It sounds like he had at least a pretty good amount in the writing. Did he just kind of come in and tell you stories, and you just were like, all right, let's see how we can piece this into a piece?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
On most of them, that he was involved with, that was the case. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, Champagne Taste. The narrative was all him. I mean, that was his story about getting pulled over with, a crack rock in his throat. Yeah.
No, that was, and he was wearing
a
tux. Yeah. He came from a catering gig downtown, got pulled over, swallowed the crack rock to hide it. And then we just kind of took that story and tried to make it work it into the musically.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend picked him up at the police station, and
yeah,
the only song about that.
All we had to do was transcribe like basically a story and put it into chunks that he could, read and like, time it up to the verses and all that stuff. And
yeah.
I mean, he made that narrative very easy because it happened to him, and so
exactly, yeah.
Well, we had like the best dressed man in prison and stuff like that. We added our own little touches, and I shouldn't be driving this car. I mean, but it's all. I mean, he was the muse for that whole album, like pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of Rocher wasn't his story. That was just like we were watching some Winter Olympics at the time, and we thought that'd be hilarious to write a song about him. About Jeannie Rocher. But
it's so damn quotable. Like almost every line is so immediately memorable, and it makes sense why it gets so ingrained kind of in your head to where it's just going to pop up randomly. Like, is this stuck in my head again?
Yep. Sorry.
No, this house is very much fans. Now, you said best dressed man in prison. Do you have a favorite Marco outfit? Because he seems to be, his clothing is all over the place in the absolute best way. So,
and follow up to that, whose idea was the headdress and champagne taste?
That was my idea, because it was more of the album art too, and then we're like, okay, let's use this, put it on for a second because it's the album cover of him, and that was before a lot of people got heat for appropriating.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
And that wasn't the intention, anyways. I just thought there were so many interesting things about it. Like, I mean, I'm not like trying to say it's so much deeper than just putting a cool headdress and like shooting him in front of the lake.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's that old Italian wrestler, or the wrestler, the WWF wrestler that was like an Italian guy, and like in old films, like they would never have like Native Americans. I was just like, this Italian guy put the hat. I don't know. It was hilarious to me. It was more just like,
I mean, it adds to that 2010. What the hell is this? So perfectly, like
especially the fever dream aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think it was more of like a out of left field sort of seasoning. I don't know.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, to refer back to Indulgences, that video from one of our albums. I did it. My favorite Marco outfit, to answer your question, is when he put on the stockings and
right
solicited Nick in his car at the end of that video. So that was great.
Yeah, that's pretty classic.
Yeah.
Jed, he had totally game for it. Like no issue. Completely shameless. On a side note to Champagne Taste, I do want to say, even though we had to kind of like piece and record him in little pieces, we did have one show, and it was like we had other musicians play our music, which was just like we didn't actually perform ourselves. But at one point we had Marco go up and perform Champagne Taste, and I was like, there's no fucking way he's gonna remember it. And he absolutely crushed it. And for like the 10 people that were there, they got something special. Like I do remember. Actually, it was a small place. Where was that? What's the name of that venue? The bar,
Whistler. The Whistler, yeah. Logan Square, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a really cool little cocktail bar, and they always had good music and tasteful things. And yeah, they packed everyone in. We did, it was a small venue, but it was filled, and they did go absolutely ape shit when he crushed it. And I like Dave and I were honestly like looking at each other like.
Yeah.
And the band behind him was like some of the these great jazz musicians. Like one of them put on an album that was written up by Pitchfork, and like Brian was playing bass and like leading that band. They're like killer musicians. Mm-hmm. So they crushed it. It was great. we just sat back and drank.
Yes.
And watched.
We watched a performance of our own song and deliberately did not perform it ourselves. So that was
because you guys as Univore, you've never performed live, correct?
Correct.
No.
But interesting that your one concert was kind of like all covers of yourself. That's an interesting way to do it for sure.
While we were there.
Yeah.
Definitely stupid.
Now, is there footage of Marco's one live performance, or is that kind of lost to the ether?
No. You would think people with cameras that like to shoot video would have brought one, but no, I guess it never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was worried about, we had like a projection in the back. So I was like, I know I was worried about that. I was worried about sound and everything. And I don't know.
Hindsight 2020.
Yeah. Actually, it's probably better. It wasn't. It probably wouldn't be as good. I remember.
Anybody
or like
that
the
hears
audio
this,
would be bad or something. I don't know.
Anybody that hears this can imagine, you know, they can imagine the mysterious one and only live performance of Marco. And
right. And probably early enough where people weren't pulling out like high quality cameras on their phone either. There is a little bit, I think, of a recording of when Sagan and Brother George did the first set. It was like kind of like more of a roots rock band that did the first set and then had like a jazz band do kind of like jazz renditions at the end. And there's a little clip of that.
Okay.
That I think I have somewhere, but yeah.
Now, I might be asking you to essentially to pick your favorite kid, but do you guys have a favorite song that you've put out? Not like just kind of maybe like personally meant something, or, you know, just was like, wow, we nailed it. Just anything that you, you know, stood out a little bit to yourself.
I mean, I think my favorite song of ours is I've Been Trying to Run Into You. I don't know. First of all, I think it's a great title, but also I don't know. It's a pretty, you know, sort of somber, serious tune, but it still has those like super heavy, creamy synth, you know, element and just some cool 80s guitar and very simple. You know, it's sort of short and sort of a little bit poppy and reminds me a little bit of Genesis, you know. But also I also love the video. That's probably my favorite video that Nick has ever done. Nick did that 100% without me. And so I don't know. I think that's probably my favorite.
Very nice.
I mean, I'm more into the stuff we've done recently. I think I really like the album Conk, which is 2 albums ago. I mean, our last album's good too, but I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, yeah, they're really. I do like Cheeseburger Beach. I think I like that. I like that video too. Like that's one of my favorites.
That's a great one.
I don't know. Like Marco, if Marco was in that band, that would be the only way I think I would have been happier with the way that was done. Well, Dave being there. Although I kind of love how someone was playing you. Like Dave, well, like Dave's boy, didn't Cyrus have an accident or something? And like you like basically dumped like a bunch of guitars on me, like a bass, you gave me you gave me the Strat, the lap steel, and a bass. And we had people to, you know, play the drummer and the bassist. And then Sagan, who was singing there, he's the guy that we work with, Sagan Jacobson. But Dave was supposed to be playing the lap steel with the hat, and that was all his costume and everything. But then we got our friend Andy LeMay Cox, he's a really great painter, to sit in. So it worked out, but you know, what could have been a real disaster turned out to be kind of interesting. And I think he's credited as playing you in the description. But I don't know. I like that song. I think it's kind of fun. It's so stupid though. Like I mean, I don't know, but I like it.
Yeah, my girlfriend initially wanted me to mention her favorite song, and then she told me not to because she was said she'd be embarrassed, but I'm gonna do it anyways. She said Angela.
You have to now.
Yeah, exactly. Angela's her favorite. I play that in her car quite a bit.
that's a great song though. That's Dave wrote. I mean, yeah, lyrically and musically wrote that one. And, you know, I just helped kind of, I guess, produce it and bring in the different other sounds to it. But yeah, it's killer. Lyrics are killer. Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah,
I really like that song.
I ripped off like a tiny portion on the refrain of a Burt Bacharach melody from like 1964 for that. That was my secret sauce for Angela. I don't know if you guys are into Burt Bacharach, but I am. So
we're gonna check out anything and everything you mentioned during this.
Cool. Great, good.
We listened to a lot of Burt Bacharach at the restaurant.
Really? Okay.
That's
fun.
Great.
You know, I was actually thinking like Dave and I should start like a Univore podcast and just kind of talk about stuff we listened to that week. And just kind of like, you know, I'm sure we don't have time for it, but I think it'd be fun.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be great. But yeah, obviously the video for Angela was a work of absolute genius.
Yeah.
And we got talk about Marco's like just weird connections. He knew a guy who owned a yacht.
Well, no, okay. It's even better. It's even better than that. So he knew this guy Tony, that was a yacht mechanic. So so the day's like, he's like, hey, like Marco's like, hey, babe, we're gonna go down. We're gonna go see the yacht. We're gonna meet my guy Tony. And I think he even laid out that this guy was the mechanic or owned a yacht. Oh yeah, first he said he owned a yacht. Okay, so I think I'm going down to this fancy Chicago yacht club to meet the owner of the yacht that supposedly is going to give us this thing for free to shoot the music video. And I pull up and I'm waiting there kind of in this like little circle or whatever. And Marco's like, I'll be there soon. And then what pulls up in front of me is just probably like textbook jalopy. Like I've never, like, I mean, if you looked up a definition of a jalopy, this would be the picture next to it. And it was really like, I mean, I'm not even saying that in kind of like just an asshole way. Like I'd never make fun of anyone for having, but again, I'm planning on meeting a guy that owns a yacht. So I wouldn't expect a jalopy to pull up. I mean, picked up the different mismatching colored doors from the junkyard and like the trunk has like, one of those like zip tie, right? Anything you can imagine, maybe a little duct tape here and there. I mean, it was just like a cartoon jalopy. And I was like crying with laughter. Like I couldn't even I was like almost shaking. I was like, this can't be real. So I mean, like the track record now is, working with Marco on all of Casale project and doing all those ridiculous things. Now this is just like, this is getting better. Anyhow, so this guy ends up, he was a mechanic, but does own his own yacht. Just really, I guess, really thrifty with money, which is just interesting. But yeah, so his buddy Tony, who was also on the yacht, like connected us with some guy that made money with maybe a cellular company, or like his dad did, and he was just like some, just living off a trust fund, like older guy, maybe a little older than us. He was nice. I can't even remember his name. He piloted the yacht, and it was like one of, I think, two, and it was like kind of like the one he rents out occasionally, but like he paid for the fuel. So I mean, all we did was buy like some alcohol and got some pizza and like got people some scarves and like maybe some some
now that you mention it
to their clothing.
Now that you mention it, Marco really does seem like I know a guy type of dude. Like,
oh yeah.
But
a pretty famous photographer took the picture of Casale project too. Oh man, his name's escaping me right now.
Yeah, mine.
But he's in the Photography Hall of Fame, and I met him. He's a really nice guy. But man, even that was weird. It was like the photographer owed a friend of Marco's a favor. and it was like
ping pong bet debts that got to be settled up.
It was really, really strange. And the guy that like was owed the favor had this like real gangster sort of like Chicago gangster vibe to him. And then Marco was in no way affiliated with organized crime, at least that I knew of. And never. He was just a party boy, never, just like continued to party throughout his life. But yeah, there's just so much weirdness involved with almost everything Marco got us into.
That is amazing.
Great.
Now, another comment that I see a lot is, how the hell aren't you guys the most popular band on earth? A lot of people that are obsessed with you ask that, which, I would argue that too, that you were at least a slightly underrated from where like, you 100% like should be. But what are your guys' like, do you have any sort of like end goal or like desire of fame, or, is this like good enough for you? What is your true like aspirations with Univore, either realistic or not, I guess?
I mean, I would like to be recognized. And make some money,
I mean, if that was like, I think like, I don't even know if I didn't have something like, I mean, this is definitely one of my more creative outlets. Like the only thing I really like, doing this kind of stuff gets my rocks off for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's just, sometimes it's a matter of time. I mean, you got to do a lot if you really want to. I mean, well, that's, I don't know. There's so many factors into it, but yeah, I mean, it'd be great. Yeah, of course, it'd be great to be recognized for stuff. And I think early on we had a little bit of traction, and then obviously it's, with those viral kind of stuff. But I don't know. No real aspirations, but either way, I mean, like I plan on continuing and making music one way or the other, and and weird stuff. But yeah, you know, I mean, definitely going into like we're certainly not writing anything thinking, oh, this is the one.
Right.
You know? So
yeah.
I don't know. I figure like at best, like maybe 10 years from now, someone like a Numero group or something will like re-release our whole catalog and like we might get like a 5 on whatever fucking Pitchfork is or whatever. like a mediocre score. I don't know, what was it like those cool. Like those dudes that did the Bastow brothers, like remember like the Bruton, they did like production music, like old Bruton stuff, and they got like some late kind of notoriety and really, you know, underground sort of ways. But yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of luck that goes into the internet. Sometimes we're sitting here like, what the hell are we doing wrong? But you know, it's just how it goes. But yeah, guys, you know, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
They're trying to end their podcast.
I know. I was just going to add.
No,
I know,
go ahead,
man.
say
We've got enough of these guys.
I can't even remember what I was going to say. Something flowery about. I don't even know what. So I'm just going to stop talking.
Oh, we think we're great. I mean, we really like our music. We do. I mean, I definitely do. I know we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, dudes, thank you so much for coming on. For real, it's been a blast. Very informative. You know, we got all our questions answered here on our curiosity of all that is Univore.
Got our rocks off.
Yeah, truly.
But hold on. Where are you? Like, I know you're in Champaign. Is that your house? Like, what room are you sitting in?
My bed's right there.
Like, oh, really? Nice, cool.
Yeah, very homegrown. You know, it started in my bedroom, and you could see the background of my actual bed and stuff. We decided to upgrade finally at the 1 year mark.
Once I got into the master bedroom.
Yeah, we had to really go all out, and you know, we're nose to the grindstone every once in a while, talking to internet characters like yourselves.
Beautiful.
But yes, I'll put all your guys' links down in the description for anybody that wants to check you out. And
it should be everyone listening and watching.
Yes, everyone that listens to this should be clicking those links down there. And thank you for coming on. Yeah, you guys said first podcast. It's quite an honor to get
awesome.
Some inside scoops and some context to like I said, the enigma of a man that is Marco Casale, that the internet collectively, anybody that runs into collectively kind of cries out in anguish and kind of tips their hat to that gentleman.
As they should. Yeah, absolutely. He's a legend.
But awesome. We'll stay in touch. If we ever have anything we need to run by you guys, we 100% will. And thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
For sure. Take it easy.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks for having us.